बॉस आप ये सब कुछ करवाने करने की बात करते हो, हम करने के लिए भी तैयार है। प्रॉब्लम ये है कि हमें अच्छे लोग मिलते नहीं है और आप चाहते हो कि मैं आके आपके साथ अंधेरे में भटकूं। As an entrepreneur, you might want to justify saying that I've tried, I've taken a very high salary people, but वो SME में चलते नहीं है।
What are the measures one should take to address these challenges?
No business in this world can exist if it is for that entrepreneur. When you are doing business, you are there to create value, and when that value gets accepted by the market, by the customer, then only you start flourishing.
Namaskar and welcome to the very first episode of Karneka. It is a podcast where we not only explore the real world problems but the very critical issues faced by the Indian entrepreneurs but hardly spoken about. My name is Kamlesh Mohod, and I'm the host today. And I have had an opportunity to work across India and global landscape, and interacting and relating with different entrepreneurs and owners across the enterprises. Today, we have somebody who has dedicated his life and has worked predominantly with Indian SMEs and has been learning, working very closely with Indian entrepreneurs. He is the co-founder of Transorganization Creation Private Limited, and he's also working very closely with Ecom Foundation. I would like to welcome Mr. Kundan Gaurav. Welcome, sir. How are you doing today?
Namaskar, I'm good, very good, yeah.
Thank you very much for your time. Since you being in the industry and you have worked with Indian entrepreneurs and SME for such a long time, probably 2 decades of your life, what do you think? What are the real pain points of the industry?
Okay, this question can be answered in two ways. Okay, one is from the SME perspective, SME themselves, talking about the challenges. If you talk to SMEs and ask them about what are the major pain points, you'll find three major pain points that they will be talking about. One is they would be talking about, we don't get good people to work with. We don't get right talent to work with us. The second problem that they would be talking about is market is very aggressive, or there's a huge amount of competition. And the third thing that they would be talking about is we do not have enough capital. We are under capital, or the kind of money that we need for growth is not with us. We are not deep pocket companies. These are the three major things that, or one of these things that they would talk about. So that is from the perspective of SME itself. The second perspective would be of the professionals who are working with them, or a community of coaches and community of consultants who are working with small and medium enterprises. And from their perspective, of course, they are not ignoring to these three challenges or these three pain points that SME talks about, or SME owner talks about. But these professionals go beyond these challenges and they try to look at the root problems, because these three things that they are talking about are not the root problems, but these are the symptoms of real problem. And if you talk to these professionals, they would be first thing that they would be talking about is over dependence of the organization on that individual, that promoter, or that entrepreneur,
Right.
over dependence on him. The second challenge or root problems that these professionals would talk about is, it is not about not having funds. It is not about not having capital, but it is about being able to manage the cash flow or the kind of finance that they have. And it is about being fund ready, being fundable.
Right.
Okay. Most of the SME owners they would rather look at debt as the only source, and not at equity as a, of course equity is a costlier funding, but if your organization needs it for the kind of growth that it should get, then we need to look at it, you know. And the third thing that a professional would uh, look at, you know, it's not about people don't want to work with them,
Mhm.
uh, or they don't get good talent,
Right.
you know. Of course, that is the thing that we see at surface, you know. But the point is, why would a good talent want to work with you? No. I experienced something in Nagpur. You know, there was a seminar for around 250 entrepreneurs on scalability and sustainability. And I won't take the name of that guy who was conducting that
Mhm.
professional who was conducting this seminar, because I do not have permission to take his name. You
I
know,
understand.
but he talked a lot about different aspects of business and what are the elements that you should be looking at while you're looking at scaling and sustainability of your business, you know. And he gave live examples, the brands and the companies that he worked with, you know. He gave those examples, and these are live cases. These institutions, these organizations do exist, you know. And he spoke about that, and there was a question answer session, and one of the senior entrepreneurs amongst us, you know, he stood for asking question, and he said, Mr. So and so, we do understand what you spoke, you know, and it's very, very good, and it sounds good, but I think you do not understand practicality, you know. So the professional who was giving seminar, he was also entrepreneur. He said, "Sir, if I do not understand practicality, that's what is your observation. I would want to explore it further, and can you explain how I do not understand practicality?"
Mhm.
And this senior guy, in a very excitement, he said, "बॉस, आप ये सब कुछ करवाने करने की बात करते हो, हम करने के लिए भी तैयार है। प्रॉब्लम ये है कि हमें अच्छे लोग मिलते नहीं है."
Mhm.
And he said, "Okay. So, sir, if you're saying that आपको अच्छे लोग नहीं मिलते हैं, so you have a definition of अच्छे लोग. Whatever I have explained and the kind of experience that I have and the kind of companies that I have worked and the kind of case studies that are there, considering that, do I fit into your good talent definition?" And the senior guy said, "Yes, you fit in." And this guy said, "I take a challenge that I'm going to work with you from tomorrow. I will be, if you say I fit into that
Mhm.
need, I will work with you from tomorrow itself, you know. But before I start working with you, I need to know certain things, you know. I need to, and I need answer for a couple of things." And he asked the first question. He said, "If I join you, sir, what would happen to me and my career in next 5 years?" You know. And the senior person said, "Arey, we will grow together. We'll do so many exciting things together. You know, we will flourish." Then this guy who was giving seminar took a pause, and he said, "Sir, forget about me. Can you tell me with objectivity and clarity what would happen to you and your organization in next 5 years? What is your vision for next 5 years? What do you see? Can you clearly explain me that?" And this senior guy was also a very honest person, okay? And he uh, admitted that he won't be able to answer that question.
Mhm.
And that's where this professional said that आप तो अंधेरे में भटक रहे हो, और आप चाहते हो कि मैं आके आपके साथ अंधेरे में भटकूं, you know. And the answer for me not getting good talent is good talent, intelligent talent, emotionally good emotional quotient talent. These people need clarity. They want more than money. Of course, money is there, but more than money, they want to know what is going to happen to them in this organization. And if you do not have a very clear answer for it, then it would be very difficult to get a good talent to work with you. As an entrepreneur, you might want to justify saying that I've tried, I've taken a very high salary people, but wo SME mein chalte nahi hai. It's not only about clarity, but it is also about the complete environment that we as entrepreneurs needs to provide so that a good talent can work with us.
Right.
So that is how when we talk about pain and challenges, there are many, but on a very surface level, we can say these are the two types of
Right.
challenges we see.
Right, you very rightly pointed about two different things. In the first thing you spoke about people, market, and money. And I meet quite a few entrepreneurs, and I have met quite a few entrepreneurs. The challenges are global. It is industry agnostic. It is applicable to everyone. Now, according to your experience so far in the industry, what are the measures one should take to address these challenges?
Oh, that's a question that would take around a 1 year long intervention to explain. Okay, but so this question cannot be answered in a podcast kind of a scenario or a
But also, if you can
setup.
give the gist of it.
Yeah. So so we talked about the challenges. What has to be done? Okay. So it first has to start with a thought process of moving from me, my, for me, to for others. Okay. So when I say this, for an entrepreneur or for a business owner, fundamentally it is about why we start the business. We start it for to fulfill
Growth.
our needs.
Yeah.
That is what we see at the surface level. But that's not true. No business in this world can exist if it is for that entrepreneur. No business can survive. Because fundamental of business is when you are doing business, you are there to create value, and when that value gets accepted by the market, by the customer, then only you start flourishing.
Right.
So it is not about me. Entrepreneurship is not about me. It is not about I can manufacture a product. It is not about I have a disruptive idea. It is about this product or this idea, how is it solving a problem? So again, it is for somebody and not for myself. So the first thing that needs to happen is the enterprise or the entrepreneur needs to move from the thought process of selfish consumption to selfless contribution. It should move from getting to giving, because when you contribute, what you need will come. When you give, what you want to get will come. So to take care of the challenges that we spoke about and many other challenges, the beginning, the start point is the entrepreneur. Entrepreneur need to change the belief with which he has started it. Somebody has said that the belief that you hold in the beginning of the journey defines the journey. So if my beginning is with the belief of I want to make some wealth, Wealth is a byproduct that will happen, you know. But if that is the thought, that what is that I'm going to get for myself, if that is the belief, then it becomes a root for a lot of problems, so-called problems that we talk about, you know. It's like I want good people to work with me, and I want good people to work for some purpose and vision, and I'm going to work for the profits. So if I'm going to work for money, my people are going to work for the money. Your organization is your reflection.
Yeah, the culture trickles down.
Right? Whatever you believe in, that is going to reflect in the system that you're working with. You know, so if you're working for money, your people are going to work for money for sure, and you should not be, you should not feel otherwise about it. So that is where it starts. So correction at the promoters level. Again, second thing is thinking beyond what I'm getting today. You know, thinking beyond product, thinking beyond infrastructure, thinking beyond profit and loss account, thinking beyond balance sheet. You know, entrepreneur needs to start thinking beyond himself. That whatever I have started, how I can make sure that even when I'm not there, this will continue to deliver the kind of value that I wish to deliver. So that is the second correction that needs to happen, that the enterprise that I'm running, first is it is not for myself. I'm just a custodian. I've started something. I have invested myself into it, but ultimately I'm a custodian. And this whole system that I'm building in the form of business has to go beyond me, beyond my existence. Today I am the custodian. Tomorrow somebody else will be the custodian. That somebody else could be your next generation. Your blood could be the next custodian. Or even if not, then there could be some professional who would be taking that custodianship. If this shift happens, you know, to start with, from this shift, lot of solutions will come out, and those solutions will solve the problems or the pains that we're talking about.
Right. So when you're talking about, there has to be a shift in the mindset of an entrepreneur to have that kind of growth or to be sustainable in the long term, so that he leaves a legacy even after when he is gone. Now, while doing so and while changing that mindset, do you think doing business or changing the mindset, is it a art, or do you have a science behind changing the mindset of the entrepreneur?
Anything that is intense, it is always a combination of art and science. You know, or I would rather want to say that any profession, anything that is professional, it has to be combination of art and science. You know, we talk about, let's take a profession of a doctor. It's a very scientific kind of a
Yes,
profession. But then we see that there are few doctors who are sitting and waiting for patients to come, and then there are doctors where patients are waiting
for doctor.
when we will be able to meet this guy.
Right.
You know, so there is one who is just maybe good at science of medicine, and then there is somebody who understands the science of medicine. He is good at it, but at the same time he understands the art of conversation. He understands the art of probing, diagnosing. You know, he understands the art of giving that comfort and confidence to his patients. You know, so it's always a combination of art and science. And when it comes to, you know, entrepreneurship or the process of changing this mindset from a short term to legacy. It is a combination of art and science both.
Right. Uh, so, building on that, how do you infuse that science in the art of business? So, there have been a lot of theories which has been postulated in the Western world. Do you think these theories which has been developed in the Western world, or kind of business models which has been developed, can we imbibe then in the Indian context for Indian SMEs?
So whether it is developed in Western world or whether it is developed in India, there are two things. One is the context in which they were developed, and second is the content that it has,
Mm-hmm.
and third thing is based on which concepts, which principles, you know. So whether it is a Western concept or whether it is developed in Western world, while we are bringing those concepts to India, what are we doing? India or Africa or Russia, it doesn't matter. What we are doing is we are changing the context. So we need to keep the principles, the concept same, the theory, the science part of it the same. And as per the context, as the situation is changing, when we bring it here, we need to calibrate it, contextualize it, and also have a different content which the people in this context can relate to. For example, I'm remembering a very not related to entrepreneurship, but a example of how this contextualizing really makes a difference. So these days we have English medium schools, where people learn medium English in this country.
Yeah.
Now in this, so there was a grandpa, coming from in Maharashtra. There's a place called Vidarbha where uh, there's always rain is very
Scarcity of rain.
scarcity. Then people are आत्महत्या करते हैं. People do suicide because of these things. Now this grandpa is sitting. I heard it from somebody sitting in a uh, on couch, and a little kid who's in junior KG or something. He comes and this grandpa, क्या सीखा स्कूल में, so this little guy says, I learned poem. So grandpa doesn't understand what is poem. So he says, poem क्या होता है, so the dad of this kid, means his son, looks at him, poem भी नहीं समझा, कविता कविता. So he's very happy that my grandchildren, child is learning kavita. So he says, "Konti kavita? Which kavita you have learned?" So this guy says, "Rain, rain, go away." Rain, rain, go away, and then he continues, and then grandpa asks him, "Ki what does this mean?" So he says, "Ki बारिश चले जाओ, paus paus
rain go away,
चले जा, and जैसे ये सुनता है, उस बच्चे के एक छोटी सी चपाट मार देता है. वो चपाट इसलिए मारता है कि मैं उस देश में हूं जहां रेन नहीं है, इसलिए मेरे लोग सुसाइड कर रहे हैं और हम बच्चों को सिखा रहे हैं रेन रेन गो अवे, जबकि मुझे सिखाना चाहिए कि कैसे मैं बारिश की आवाहन करूं, ये रे पावसा तुला दे तो पैसा. That has to be taught. Now that education has come from the Western world, but it is not been calibrated to the context. वो बच्चा सीख क्या रहा है? He is getting disconnected from the context. In the same way, whether it is a business model or whether it is a strategy or whether it is some kind of BCG metrics,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to not only, and again, it is not about country or a region. The context change organization to organization. So when these things are going into the organization, that is the time the contextualization is required
Mm-hmm.
there. Not because it is coming from USA and it is coming to India. It's not about, at the moment the organization on which you are going to apply it, context changes.
Mm-hmm.
There could be two companies, company A and company B, working in the same industry, working on the same product, working on the same customers. They are of the same size. Still, these two entities, these two organisms, organism 1A and B, these are completely different contexts. And you have to have, as a consultant or a professional or even entrepreneur who's reading this content, and getting it into his organization, he needs to know that without contextualizing, it is not going to yield results. If I fail to contextualize, it will create bigger problems. And that's where in this country, there are many seminars happening and there are many coaching things happening and there are many books published on business and entrepreneurship. And when my entrepreneurs, when they go there with the, वो तो आशा से जाते हैं ना
Right,
कि
right.
कुछ सीखेंगे
कुछ
और कुछ
सीखेंगे, कुछ
करेंगे,
करेंगे.
तो बेचारे वो आशा से जाते हैं, they take that content, and because they could not contextualize it, that knowledge remains knowledge. That knowledge very rarely gets implemented because the art of contextualizing that science which they have learned from a seminar or a coach or from a book, that art nobody is teaching. How do I contextualize it? How, it's not about having frameworks and having dashboards. You can have, how can you have a standard dashboard and then you apply everywhere? You
Right.
need to contextualize that dashboard. You need to contextualize that framework.
As per your requirement and your
As
industry.
per your
Yeah.
not only requirement, your ability, your people ability. How much your people have matured. Otherwise, a lot of people would want to go and because I have money, I'm going to put a ARP in my organization. Good thought. Is your system capable
Enough to run it?
to yes, to work on that ERP or a SAP? And then they have ERP going on one side, and then the Excel thing going on one side, and the tally thing going on inside. And instead of bringing a problem, what they have done is they have created a chaos. And that's where this art of contextualizing is very, very important. What you asked is, how do we do this? So where I said, okay, it's going to take
a long time.
Long time. But what I can say here is, we look at the whole. We don't look at it as an organization. We look at it as an organism, which has many components which are interconnected. And because these are interconnected, we always offer a integrated solution rather than giving some kind of a transactional. Because people come to us and they say, अरे बॉस थोड़ा हमारा HR पे काम कर दो ना, HR पे कर दोगे सब कुछ ठीक हो जाएगा, अरे बॉस थोड़ा फाइनेंस पे काम कर दो ना, वो कर दोगे. नहीं होता भाई. Every function has an impact and dependence and interdependence on the other function. And also, if you're going to do calibration at some place, it is going to have the repercussion on the whole system. So you need to have an integrated solution.
Yeah.
A solution proactive enough and intelligent enough that understands that if I'm going to do calibration at one point, it is going to have impact on other functions, and I proactively anticipate if those impacts are going to happen, what I'm going to do that time. But I think of it before I start the intervention. That could be called as a integrated holistic solution.
So, Kundan, as you spoke about different aspects and different departments of the organization, HRs and operations and finance, and also integration of all these things. So, when you're speaking this, are you talking about change management?
Ah, good. So, Kamlesh, when we talk about this, or when anybody talks about this, people think it is about change management, or re-engineering of the organization, or having a change management project. Kamlesh, you need to understand, and I'm sure if you go and do research, you'll find that 65 to 70% of change management projects fail, and that's a substantial amount of
Yes.
failure. you know so yes, I'm not at all talking about change management, you know because I would like to believe that change management is a phenomena, or is a process of industrial age. you know it used to work, it used to work a lot. It is no more about managing change, or probably change has gone beyond your managing skills.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's take an example to understand this, because I really want to emphasize on this point that, if you're talking about change management, and if you think that change management is going to really help you, you need to have this clarity. Okay, let's look at it from this perspective. Can you tell me how much time did it take for a landline phone to become irrelevant since it got introduced?
50 years maybe.
Around 50 to
Yes,
60
50 to
years,
60 years.
from the time it came in the
Yes, yes.
marketplace, and to become irrelevant,
Mhm.
it took 50 to 60 years. Can you tell me how many years it took Nokia to become irrelevant? Or I can't say irrelevant, but there used to be a time when everybody used to have Nokia. And if you look at today's scenario,
Nobody's having it.
very
Probably,
few,
yeah.
or how many years it took for Nokia to get out of the market?
15 years, probably.
Around 7 to 8 years, or 9 years. And can you tell me how much time did it took for BlackBerry to get out of the market?
2-3 years.
Just the launch of WhatsApp and the need for BlackBerry
BB pin was gone. Yeah. BB pin, yeah.
Gone. Today evening I launched it, tomorrow. So probably 6 to 7 months, and BlackBerry boys were out. Now, what these three examples tell us is there was a time when it used to take 15, 20, 25, 30 years for something to become irrelevant, because the pace of change was slow. And as this microprocessing, the industry of microprocessors, or the innovation in microprocessors happened, the pace of change increased. And then products used to get, or companies used to become irrelevant maybe in 5, 6, 7 years. Today, the pace of change has gone to a level where some products are relevant today, and tomorrow they are irrelevant. So much of disruption is happening. As per Moore's law, it says that every 18 months, the fundamental of industry are going to change. Now, when the pace of change has gone to such level, it is difficult, or it is impossible to fight change with the change. You can't fight change with the change, because if you try to adapt to the change by changing, you will always be chasing the change. You will always be behind the change. What is required in today's industry, what is required in today's age, is to stand ahead of change. And standing ahead of change is not possible by chasing change or by changing as per change. But what we all need to understand is time for transformation. And there's difference between change and transformation. Change is a reversible process. I change when I'm pressurized. When the pressure is gone, I go back to what I was, because I would always want to be in my comfort zone. So change is a reversible process. Change is generally initiated because of outside pressure, but the transformation is initiated from within. Change is a reactive process, transformation is a proactive process, you know, and that proactiveness of transforming, changing the form itself, you know, caterpillar becoming butterfly is transformation.
Yes.
It has changed the form. As a caterpillar, it can only crawl.
Yeah.
But when it transforms itself into a butterfly,
It can fly.
so that is how the difference, how much the difference is in capability also. So as enterprises, if I have to stand ahead of the curve, if I have to stand ahead of the next change, I need to have that ability to change. I need to have that ability to transform and rather change.
Right.
You know, so there is a process. Okay, the process of metamorphosis. That is what we need to adopt.
Right.
And once we do that, then we will be able to stand ahead of change. So, what I said of having an integrated solution is not change management. Rather, it is a process of transforming organizations into organism.
Right. So, Kundan, since the beginning of this series, or since the beginning of this podcast, we spoke about pain points of entrepreneur, challenges in the industry. We spoke about integrated change. We also spoke about the fact that you cannot fight change with change. Real transformation is required. Metamorphosis is required. Now, talking very real and crucial aspect, what the name of this podcast is, Karna Kya Hai. So I would like to ask you, when we talk about transformation, Karna Kya Hai?
Okay, so करना ये है, पहली चीज जो हमने कही कि भैया पहले माइंडसेट पे काम करो. ओके, मूव फ्रॉम सेल्फिश कंजम्पशन थॉट टू सेल्फलेस कंट्रीब्यूशन थॉट. ओके, यहां से शुरुआत करो. And then consistently try and understand the process or the science or the art behind transforming your organization. You know, be ready to break the pot that you have created today. अभी जो घड़ा बनाया है, उस घड़े को लेट गो करो, उसको तोड़ने की तैयारी रखो, and create a new pot for the kind of next level growth that you want. But be clear in your mind, that this pot is also temporary. I will have to break this pot also, and I have to be always in the transformative state. आज के ज़माने में, in today's age, if your business has to grow and sustain, first at an entrepreneur level and then on an organization level, we all have to be in a transformative state. Now, because this is a podcast kind of a format, so बहुत सारी चीजें नहीं share कर सकता, but you know, if you can share my credentials in this podcast at the end somewhere, I don't know.
Sure.
I would be happy to converse with those people who really want to transform, those who really want to take their businesses from just a enterprise to a institution. No, I would like to converse with them. Yes, with this podcast, I want to assure people that this conversation is going to be no obligation conversation. You know, so they can speak to my team, and from there, then they can connect me. And I would really want to tell the audience more things about Karna Kya Hai. what are the things that you can do. But yes, if you can start with change of the mindset, that one karna kya hai, if you can take away from this podcast, that would be a great thing.
So thank you very much, Kundan, for this conversation, and for all the viewers who are watching us, all the entrepreneurs and all the founders who want to take that step towards the journey of transformation. I would assure you, this is not an easy journey, but if you are ready and if you want to take that step, it might be 100 step, but if you take that one step, you are just 99 step away from the growth and from your transformational journey. So our credentials will be reflecting on the screen. You can contact us. Please like, share, and subscribe our channel. And for more intrigue, contact, and insightful discussion, please follow us and share your reflection on hashtag Karna Kya Hai.